Have a drawer full of knives and have absolutely no clue what each of them are supposed to do? Well, I'm gonna show you the 5 knives that you need to get anything done. And for a little bonus, I'm gonna show you how to sharpen them as well. What is up, my homies? Chef Billy Parisi here, where I teach you techniques and recipes so that you can make absolutely anything from scratch at home. Well, you spoke and I listened. I posed the question, what should this video be about? And an overwhelming response kind of gave me 2 answers. The first one was a pan roasted steak, or which knife does what do I buy? All those great questions. Well, I already kind of have a pan roasted bone-in ribeye steak video, which you can check out here. So I thought I'd go with the knife question. Let's first start by talking about the different types of steels. The 3 main steels you're going to see are carbon steel, a general German type steel, and then a Japanese steel. Any of these are great knives. They all have wonderful benefits, can be extremely sharp, but it's all up to you, of course, to keeping them that way. The only thing that I'll say is about 2 knives. One is the carbon steel. You definitely have to take care of it a little bit more. Like after you slice a lemon, it might completely turn black or start rusting out on you, so you have to wash it constantly and dry it, but it is ridiculously sharp. For the Japanese steel, they are so sharp, dude, like literally some of the sharpest knives out there, but they're also so sharp that they're actually brittle. So you can't be cutting through a chicken bone or anything that's remotely hard, like maybe you're cutting through a steak and there's a bone in there, it will chip your knife. So you have to be very, very careful. And then let me just say, unless you're using like a meat cleaver that's Japanese steel, so you should be okay. But regardless, it is brittle. All of these knives are great. And the most important, let me say it again, my friends, is the chef knife. Also known as the French knife. It ranges from 8 inches all the way to 12. I like an 8-inch blade. It's just very comfortable. I like a heavy blade, and a light handle just allows me to cut really quick. And when it comes to holding it, just pinch that blade. And then this is great to use for honestly everything. This is going to be your #1 knife in your toolkit. It is a necessity. You can chop and dice and large dice and finely mince. And if you want to see how to do all those, I'm not going to do it here, but you can check out my video on knife cuts. This, I can't say it enough, this is your baby in your knife kit. So be sure to spend the money and get one that you love. Try them out. Go to Williams-Sonoma or Sur La Table or Bed Bath & Beyond or any local knife shop where you can hold the knife and practice on vegetables. But I can't stress it enough. It is ridiculously important. The next one is a paring knife. You're thinking about paring down food here, okay? So it's absolutely wonderful for peeling vegetables, whether that's a potato or an apple. And for some of those smaller, fine little projects, like taking the ends off garlic and thinly slicing them, you can absolutely still do this with a chef knife, but it works really, really well with a paring knife as well. And of course, if you need to take the core out of any vegetable or fruit, it works fantastic there as well. The next one is going to be a boning knife. This sort of comes in 2 different features, regular or flexible. The flexible is fantastic for filleting fish, like taking the skin off, or even removing some of the fat or silver skin off of raw beef. I like the regular one. It's just more firm and I'm more comfortable using it, and it's for boning. Think about this. You're removing the bones from things, whether you're breaking down an entire chicken or just trying to take the bone out of a chicken drum by simply slicing around it and scraping the bone, or perhaps you want to remove the skin off your beautiful lamb chop or veal chop. This is the knife for carving up any raw protein. It is perfect. Now on to the serrated knife, which looks like a gigantic steak knife. You see the rigid edges on the bottom. This is perfect for 2 things. The first one, of course, slicing bread. It allows you to easily cut through bread by gently sawing through it without smashing the bread down. Nothing worse than that. It drives me nuts. And then the other thing, a really quick tip and trick, is for slicing pies. Sometimes when you take a chef knife and you slice through a pie, it causes it to kind of cave in around the edges, and it loses its form and it loses its shape and honestly its beauty a little bit. If you kind of gently saw at it, make sure that serrated knife is sharp, You can cut right through a pie and makes it absolutely the most beautiful pie slice out there. Now for the last one, a slicing knife. This is mainly used for carving. You don't want to bone a chicken with this or slice a bone-in ribeye with this. That's raw. You use it for the final cooked piece. Now I have a cooked chicken breast here. Let's pretend it's a gigantic turkey breast, okay? So when you're slicing through it, it should be incredibly sharp and slice with ease. And it's also very long and made in this way so that you're not sort of slicing one part of the turkey breast or gigantic roasted bone-in prime rib and then trying to do the other. It should be long enough that it slices through the entire thing with ease. This is why you use a slicing knife, and these are my 5 favorite knives to use. Now let's move on to caring for them. Always, I mean always, wash these by hand using soap and water. If you put them in the dishwasher, there's a lot of harsh chemicals and soaps in there that will begin to wear at the edge and make it very, for lack of better words, unsharp. You'll lose the edge, you'll lose the sharpness of your knife, okay? So wash by hands with a little bit of soap, a little bit of water, with a very gentle, maybe slightly abrasive sponge. Don't use a stainless steel scrubby because you can scratch up your knife really, honestly, it'll make it look terrible. And then let it sit out to dry, or if you have a carbon steel, make sure you dry it immediately or your carbon steel blade could rust. Now on to sharpening our knives, but let me just stop and say these are so important. You're only as good as the tools that you have. And while I teach you techniques, you need to have some of these tools in your tool belt so that you can make anything from scratch. It is so important. I cannot stress it enough, my friends. Now for sharpening. What I like to use is a very simple hand sharpener. You can purchase this on Amazon or any local knife shop or Williams-Sonoma or La Table stores like that. It has 2 different edges, a coarse and a fine edge. And you're probably looking at me like, dude, you're a chef. What are you doing with this thing? I used to sharpen knives on stones or that chef's choice, that grinder that you do. Man, I just found that they were beating up the knives, scratching them up too much, didn't like it. And I've actually learned this technique from one of my favorite chefs on earth out there, Chef Daniel Pliska, one of my good buddies and an amazing chef. He taught me how to use this thing and I haven't stopped since. So what you do to create an edge, just in case you've been running these knives in the dishwasher, I'm looking at you, my friends. Run it down the coarse edge, keep it straight. Try 15 to 20 times, apply a little pressure on the blade, make sure it's firmly planted onto the countertop with your other hand. The coarse grind is for those people who have no edge on their knives, like you can barely cut butter, or you sit there and try to saw a tomato and it won't break through the skin. You need to create an edge. That is how you do it with that coarse grind. For the fine grind is you've had an edge at some point and you need to bring it back so that it's sharp. You can go from the coarse to the fine, or you can just try doing the fine if you feel confident that your knife has been sharp not too long ago. Same exact process. Hold it straight, run it 15 to 20 times, apply some pressure, keep your hand planted on the other side so that it's secure to the countertop. And then finally, the last thing you need to do is have a steel. This is incredibly important because say you have an edge already, it's just slightly dulled out because you've cut a ton of tomatoes or things with strong peelings, you need to bring that edge quickly back. This is what you need. So you want to set your knife flat and then raise it about 15 to 20 degrees on the steel and then run it back and forth each time. If you don't feel comfortable running it towards yourself, simply flip the knife around and then sharpen it with your blade facing outwards. You go each side, or if you want, you can do 4 sides on one side and 4 sides on the other. Just make sure that that number matches up for both sides. And when your knife is sharp, you will know it's sharp for 3 different ways. 1, you can try to shave yourself on your hand or whatever. If the hair comes off, you know you're sharp, my friends. Not that I recommend doing that, please be careful. The second thing is you can just try to cut something. Does it slice easily through a tomato or an apple or an onion? If it does, fantastic. Last but not least, you can grab a piece of plain paper and slice through it. If it rips through it pretty easily, you are in great shape, my friends. Now that you know what to do with these knives, go check out my knife cuts video so that you can get the most beautiful cuts of food out there. We'll see you on that video.